Gonna be checking out some new offerings from the folks over at Kidrobot. This is the Crash Bandicoot vinyl mini-series. And unless you've got your eyes closed, open them up. If you've got your eyes closed though, let me just describe to you that we're about to open up an entire case of these. All 24. 3 on the front, times 4 in the back, times 4 on the side, that's 12, times 2, that's 24. That's a simple math. Here's what the box looks like, by the way. If you do end up picking up a box for yourself, here's all the characters on the back. And there's the other side of the box. And there's the front of the box. You can currently find these at your local comic book store. If you can't find your local comic book store, where can you go to? Yep! Yes, you can go. You can go to www.comicshoplocator.com. Let's go ahead and get these opened up. You can, like I said, find them at your local comic book store. You can also head over to www.kidrobot.com. They have their own store. Did you know that? And you can buy all these. You can either buy them in singles or you can buy them in cases as well. Here on the front is Crash, the main character, and of course the reasoning why the title is called Crash Bandicoot. It's all about him. Here are some of the characters on the side. There's Crash Bandicoot, question mark, Crash and Aku. There's Uka Uka. And then on the other side, another Crash Bandicoot, which is slightly different than this one here. Dr. Neo Cortex, Aku Aku, and Coco Bandicoot. So there are, from what I can only see, 8. 4 on the one side, 4 on the other side, and there's 24. So looking at them, like Crash, there's going to be a lot of 3s. 3 of 24 for pretty much all of these. The other side, 3 of 24, so we may see a couple of reappearances from these characters. And once again, under the underside there, www, no, that's not hair, that's glue. www.kidrobot.com. Let's get this started. Let's get this party started. I need music. Okay, maybe no music. That would certainly infringe on copyright material if we're going to be using reel-to-reel or Venga Boys. Venga Boys, how old is... Well, technically, to be fair, Venga Boys, I think, was in the 90s. Crash Bandicoot, I think, made his big appearance in the 90s, so there you go. That's, I think, an appropriate segue. Venga Boys. I used to love Venga Boys. And they used to do the theme song for Darien Lake. That do-do-do-do-do-do-do with the old man, you know, the old creepy-looking guy. Okay, so here we have Crash Bandicoot. Now, looking at him, I'm assuming it's this one right here. Oh, does he have a tail? Just double check the packaging here. I saw... No, I guess he doesn't have a tail. You know what I'm looking at? I'm being dumb. I'm looking at this thing right here. That's not his tail. What I do notice, though, is that his arms are slightly translucent. Can you see that? They feel like they're of a slightly softer kind of rubber variety. These are vinyl figures, after all. The plastic, though, is drastically different, though, in the arms versus the rest of his body. His body is a very nice, as I can probably best describe it, as a creamsicle. Delicious creamsicles. That's about the coloring as I would describe Crash Bandicoot here. Nice, very delicious creamsicle orange. The face sculpt is really nicely done. Posability, these do have them. Head rotates all the way around. Arms also rotate back and forth. And while this one doesn't have accessories, maybe I don't know if any of them have accessories for that reason, or for that matter, a really nice outing. And perfect that we start this uncasing with Crash Bandicoot himself. Let's go ahead and grab box number 2. We're going to be here for a long endeavor. I really do like doing these long uncasings, these unboxings for Kidrobot. They produce some really fantastic pieces. And one thing I especially like about Kidrobot is if you look at the quantities once again, I know we just finished talking about this, 3 of 24 means and tells me if you want to just go to a comic book store and say pick out 1 or 2 of these, you know, you're not going to have to keep scoping out, repeatedly buying cases, if you're somebody that buys cases like that, like myself. But you should be pretty easy to find, like, just a Crash Bandicoot, for example, if you want just specifically him. As quickly as I say that, we've got ourselves another Crash. Well, one thing is for certain, the arms being that translucent plastic is consistent. Both of them have it. Wondering why they went the route of using translucent plastic here. It definitely does feel a little bit on the softer side. They are identical pieces to one another. As, well, 3 of 24. So probably going to get another one of these in the travels that we're about to undergo, because we're really at the beginning of this journey. There's still really a long way to go. Got the box. And open up the flap here. These would be roughly, I'm trying to think of what they are on Kidrobot's website. Again, it's more beneficial to get yourself an entire case if you can, if there's a large wave of characters that you want to get. On average, though, these will be in comic book stores for, I want to say, about $10 to $12. We did get ourselves another Crash Bandicoot. Some viewer, and I certainly apologize for not mentioning who it is, because I don't honestly remember, had alluded to the fact that the way that they case their figures, you're probably going to have several of the duplicates, or triplicates in this case, all close to one another. There may be some mileage to that, really, because based on the unboxings that we've done of these, that's pretty accurate, actually. I have noticed that, well, here, for example, we got Crash Bandicoot, made up the first 3 figures that we opened up. Let's see if that is consistent as we go through the next row, and then we'll keep going through all of it until all 24 have been opened up. I feel as if, and I don't know if anyone else would agree with me on this statement, that Crash Bandicoot is almost an underappreciated mascot for video games. You think, obviously, game mascots, you think Mario, you think Sonic, probably maybe a number 2. I don't know, maybe some of you may even think Bonk as a mascot, but very few, I think, appreciate Crash Bandicoot. Unless, again, you grew up with Crash Bandicoot, which I did. Here we have, though, is Dr. Neo Cortex, which, again, I just wanted to double check and make sure I wasn't missing out on any accessories. Sometimes they are in a clear baggie, sometimes they are separate from the figure, so I just wanted to double check that. No, in fact, there were no additional accessories. Mr. Cortex looks rather cool, very kooky, very crazy, as one should probably be in that profession. Does look like he's got gloves on, and face is very nicely sculpted, very sinister looking smile on him. Still retains the same posability as Crash Bandicoot. We'll put him next to Crash so you can see the two side by side. Try to not knock over Crash in the process. So Dr. Neo Cortex would be a 3 per case. So let's see if our logic, if deducing that maybe this one is going to be Cortex as well, let's see if that's true. Go ahead and cut the seal on the front. Because initially I always thought that these would just be randomly inserted. Of course the quantity would have to be accurate, but I never really thought, okay, maybe one row is going to be one figure, second row is going to be another figure. Let's see if this one is a Dr. Neo Cortex as well. Well, it is. So there could be some levity, some mileage in the fact that that statement is true. I like that his N is raised from his forehead. That's really a nice touch. His lower mouth seems like it's a slightly different yellow than the upper head. From a distance, if you just quickly glance at it, quickly now, it does kind of look like Homer Simpson wearing like a disguise. Very somewhat similar outfit. Okay, maybe I'm reaching on that one. Okay, so this is the next box, which just so happens to be box number 6. Get this one opened up. There we go. Oops, I almost dropped it. That could have been unfortunate. And yes, in fact, we've got ourselves another Dr. Neo Cortex, which would give us 3. In recent memory, as I'm just looking at the characters once again, there's been, I guess there has been, I was going to say there's been a lot more recent waves where they've given you more characters. But even thinking about like the God of War ones, they were also of a limited quantity. They might have even been 8 characters as well. Plus, for you as the collector, means that, again, you don't have to be trying, like, if you really saw a comic book person, comic book guy, worst episode ever, putting out one of these cases, you could probably just instantly grab a Crash Bandicoot and a Dr. Neo Cortex just like that. And really, if there's 2 Crashes anyways, technically I guess 3, but if there are 2 just regular Crash, there's 6 opportunities. That's 5, that's 6. 6 opportunities for you to grab that figure. It would just be a case of which expression you would want to go with. Now, speaking of which, now that is rather interesting. Oh, I'm wondering if the question mark was the Crash that had the translucent arms. The reasoning why I say that is because looking at them, they look almost identical, other than for the fact that this one has different colored arms. This one here has regular arms. You see that? I can't imagine that would be the difference for it being the mystery character, but other than that, yeah, that seems to be the only difference between the 2. Logically, then it makes sense why this one would have regular arms. It would make sense, obviously, those arms should be the same color as the rest of his body. So maybe the mystery Crash Bandicoot has the one with the slightly translucent arms. There you go. Other than that, again, it looks like it's the same figure. I sadly am having these falling over on me. But yet, as the dedicated reviewer that I am, I push forward. Try not to knock any more over in the process, but if they do fall over, I can always go back and pick up those. I can pick those up later. Not manana. You might want to clean up your mess right away. Either finish something, get that mess cleaned up. Mom and Dad would be very happy if that be the case. The next one is another Crash Bandicoot. Now this one again has the solid arms rather than the see-through, slightly see-through arms. Just love it. This is such a delicious orange. Don't worry. Anybody's thinking, oh my god, he's going to put it in his mouth. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Yeah, he is. He's going to put it in his mouth. No, really, I'm not. I promise you, I'm not going to do that. Still head articulation, arm articulation. No, I'm not going to put it in my mouth. I've got a lot of Crash Bandicoots happening all over here. And this one, by the way, I don't know if anyone was keeping score, but yes, in fact, it is still by rows. So based on that, this should then be the regular Crash, right? Until it throws you for a loop, until you're determined that that's going to be another Crash, and then they throw in like an Aku, and then it's like, oh, Kidrobot, you got me. I really was thinking it was going to be one thing. You threw me for a loop and you gave me another one instead. But it is, in fact, another regular Crash. That gives us 3 translucent Crashes, at least Crash arms, 3 regular arms, 6, again, opportunities that you can get the figure. And then again, if you factor in the different face sculpts, that would give you 9 different figures, 9 different ways that you can get the figure. I want to see that these are actually heavy. One discerning difference between this and maybe the other ones that I've grabbed, but the weight so far feels the same. I guess there really isn't a lot of big figures. Maybe Uka. Maybe, I don't know. Could be a little bit of a larger figure, you never know. We'll only know when we get this opened up, so let's continue to push forward until we've gotten the entire case opened up. And the next one is actually Aku. Bless you. Comes with its feather crown. So we'll go ahead and just cut that open. Get that opened up. There we go. And there's just a slot right on the top. Take the feather headdress, slot that into place. I don't know if it's one, it has to be a specific way. Let's try this way. Doesn't seem to... There we go. Just required... Well, maybe it needs a little bit more pressure. It may easily pop out. So far, though, it survives the Dairy Queen Blizzard test. And there is Aku Aku. I hear Aku, I always think now Samurai Jack, but this was, I guess, the original Aku. Got some nice coloring to it. A little bit smaller. I guess if you count the headdress, it is technically a larger figure. But the main face is a little bit smaller than the Crash Bandicoots that we've looked at. The many Crash Bandicoots that we've looked at. Get these guys all stand up here. There we go. And we'll put Aku Aku over there. Let's grab the next box. Now, do you think this is going to be an Aku Aku? His headdress just popped off here. Put him over there. Let's have a look. All right. Back to the side. Get this one opened up. And it is, in fact, an Aku Aku. Bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's see if I can reach all the way back, all the way to the very back. I have said this on numerous occasions as well. Bless you, Kidrobot, for actually putting the names of the characters down below. That may seem like such a small accomplishment, but there are other companies on the market, which I won't mention their names, don't put the names underneath their vinyl figures. I don't know why, because obviously there's got to be English and an alternate language on the packaging somewhere. So it's not like they leave the names off specifically for, well, you know what, that way we don't have to put the different languages on. There's always a language on these boxes, not these ones specifically. I don't know. Just doesn't make any sense to me. They feel the need to, and again, I'm not going to mention the name. You guys probably know who it is, though. They don't put the name on the packaging. Kidrobot does. It seems like a no-brainer to me. Doesn't even need a V8 for that one. Again, there is the front, and there's the back of Aku Aku. Activision Publishing 2018. There's the Kidrobot up at the top, stamping. Kind of looks like it's chocolate. Here he goes again, talking about food. Don't worry, I'm not going to be eating Aku. I'm going to start right at the middle. That's what I'm going to do. And we still need to get a Coco Bandicoot. Crash and Aku, we still have to get. That Zany Crash Bandicoot. And Uka Uka. Uka Uka Uka. Next box. Which, if, by the way, you were paying attention, we are now into the second row, the second tier. We'll go ahead and get that open. And here is Zany. I'm just going to say Zany Crash Bandicoot. His eyes are slightly placed differently. Other than for that, I would say it's just the same figure, but of course the eyes are what drastically changes this one to this one here. Now this one also has the solid arms. I'm currently comparing him with the one that had the translucent arms, but it would be the same Crash Bandicoot. I don't think I've ever had an experience where I'm just like looking off to the distance and I'm seeing just as far as the eye can see, or till about there, I'm seeing nothing but the same, well, not quite the same figure, but very similar figures. It looks like I've entered into this laboratory of clones. Can you imagine having a clone of yourself? Would you want to have a clone of yourself? That's an interesting question. That's one of those head scratchers that I could pose for you guys below. Would you want a clone of yourself? I'm going to say no. And let me tell you why. Let me explain why, as we did get ourselves the Zanier Crash Bandicoot. Let me explain why. Let me get into the reasonings why I wouldn't want a clone. For starters, if that clone had the same personality as me, you may think yourself as a really cool guy or cool girl or cool owl. But let's say you are now the person looking outside, looking in, and you're looking at yourself, the clone, if you will, acting a certain way, acting the way that you act all the time. I think it would be very humbling to experience the things that you think aren't annoying. So say, for example, I don't know, say you always make trumpet noises. Well, say your clone's doing that. You may now be looking at the clone thinking to yourself, wow, didn't realize that was so annoying. The other thing, the other interesting, quirky thing about having a clone is, what if the clone becomes cooler than you? Now that has some mileage to that question to consider. Because really, it's you. But what if that you, that version of you, is more popular in school, at parties, out and about, on dates? What if that clone is cooler than you? It would beg the question, is it really you? Because, you know, anybody talking to this clone, look at me, we're having this in-depth conversation about clones. Anybody who's talking to this clone thinks they're just talking to you. So the clone is doing a good job of representing you. But is it really you, though? Let me know down below how you would feel about a clone of yourself. I'd be interested to hear what you guys think. The next one we have is Uka Uka. Uka Uka. And just do some comparisons. Get the headdress back in place. There we go. Headdress just doesn't want to stay in place. But there's Aku Aku and Uka Uka. A little bit bigger. This one's a little bit smaller. Same coloring though. Although this one has some nice introductory of reds and yellows. This one does not. This one's got a chin beard of green. This one's got more of like a reddish beard. I love the bones though. Very well sculpted piece. Getting the vibe that it kind of looks like chocolate. Just saying. Not going to eat it though. Just saying though. What if you guys found out, going back to this whole clone thing, if you guys found out like weeks from now that the original me, this guy here behind the camera, what if I was killed by a clone? And then you guys have been watching all these videos, like say 3 weeks worth of videos, a month's worth of videos, let's just say a month's worth of videos, you find out later it wasn't really me. Well, it was me, but it was a clone me, maybe an evil me. I would naturally have to have a goatee, maybe a spiky beard. That seems to be like the requirement for being an evil twin, or in this case, a clone. Spock had a clone, had a beard. Michael Knight Rider, he had Garth, had a mustache. I know it's not quite a beard, but facial hair apparently denotes evil clone. Well, I normally have a beard, or as I like to call it, organized neglect. So I guess the clone, if there was an evil version of me, it would be clean shaven. I guess. Or maybe much like Bart and you know, his evil, not quite evil twin, but his identical Siamese twin upstairs, Hugo. Hugo ended up being the nice baby. So then it led to the question: was Bart evil the whole time? Everybody knows he's evil. Getting off topic. I'm talking about clones. I should be talking about Crash Bandicoot, which so happens, as we've been going through the case, and as I've been yammering on and talking about clones and evil and goatees and Garth from Knight Rider, in the meantime, we're almost done. We're almost finished up shop here. And as we're finishing up here, I did get myself Crash with Aku. Just open up. It seems to be the same headdress. I'm just going to double check that when I get this opened up. I want to compare it. Well, it is actually not the same headdress. It is quite a bit smaller. Same colors, mind you. Go ahead and plug that into the top. Let's see if this one stays a little bit better than the other one did. There we go. Not too bad, not too shabby. There's Crash with Aku. And again, just looking at the box, we are now just one away. Although we will make a couple more appearances of Crash with Aku, but the only other figure that we've yet to get is Coco Bandicoot. Coco Bandicoot. And just as a comparison, see if I can find a Crash Bandicoot. Oh, here's one. There is regular Crash. There's Crash with Aku. Very cool. Put this one down. This may be a tough endeavor to pick my top 3 because there really is a lot of the same character, especially Crash. I have reason to believe, and I want to tip my hat, reveal my hand too quickly, but I have a good gut feeling that I'm probably going to pick a Crash as one of my top 3. Just FYI. And we did get ourselves another Crash. There he is right there with Aku. With the headdress, I just won't take it out of the bag, but because it's the exact same as the last one that we looked at. Oh, one thing I didn't do. Let's see if the head articulation. Okay, head articulation still works, despite for the fact that his head is a little bit bigger now because he's got the mask. Arms still move. Everything still kind of moves. Everything still works. I think it's safe to assume that this is Crash and Aku, but yet I will open this up just to double check. You never know. That one-off chance that I make that assumption, it could very well have then been Coco. Could have just been mixed up in the process. And just get those ones to stand up. I don't want any more occasions of these falling over on me. The headdress got a little stuck on the inside baggie. But there we have another Crash with Aku. A plentiful supply of Crash Bandicoots to go around. You could just give these out like party favors. Okay, so there are 3 left. I think we know where this is going to go. Again, looking at the packaging, Coco Bandicoot is 3 of 24. We have yet to come across Coco, so I think it's safe to say these 3 are probably going to be the same figure. That's just my guess. What's your guess? Somebody right now is still thinking about the clone conundrum. They call it the clone conundrum. Hashtag clone conundrum. Let me know what you guys think. Clone, good idea, bad idea. Specifically you. Don't say I want a clone of like Gal Gadot. Everybody would want a clone of Gal Gadot. But specifically you, would you want a clone of yourself? How well do you think you'd be able to handle that? I'm thinking I'd handle it badly. Just saying. I'm honest with myself to very well admit. I think if I ran across myself, I probably wouldn't like it. I don't think I'd like that experience very much at all. Lastly, and certainly not least, we've got ourselves Coco Bandicoot. Has the overalls, nice hair sculpt there, as well as a ponytail on the back. Doesn't seem like these do move, but the arms at the very least do move. And you can put the 2 figures side by side. It's funny that I would just then grab the zanier Crash, but you can see the 2 side by side. And as we wrap up this video, we're still going to open up the last 2. Let me know down below what you guys think of this. Yes, I still am interested about the whole clone thing. Let me know. I'm interested in reading your comments for what you think about having a clone. But let me also know, it's like a twofold thing. Let me know what you guys also think is your top 3 favorite figures from this line. I love this line, by the way, just FYI. I do think, though, it's very heavy where you've got, 8 characters and then you've got 3 of each character. Now, I'm trying to think as well. I've opened a case. If I was just buying, say, 3 of these in a comic book store, or if I went over to Kidrobot's website, and let's say I only bought 3 of these, we wouldn't be having this same similar conversation. Because in that conversation, maybe the clone version of me picked up only 3 of these. So maybe I only got a Crash, maybe a Coco, or maybe I just got an Aku. 2 Akus, an Aku, Crash Bandicoot, and maybe Crash Bandicoot Aku. I would be very pleased with what Kidrobot has done with this line. And sure enough, there's another Coco. Again, the struggle really is for the fact that I'm opening up an entire case. I know by the virtue of opening up an entire case where you've got 8 characters making 3 appearances, you're going to see a lot of copies popping up over the course of the case review. And actually, it's hopefully of a service I'm providing for you guys, that you guys can see, of course, the availability of these and how easy they are to get. So as we've seen so far, it seems that they are doing them by rows. So if you can get into a local comic book store, there's necessarily no guarantee that this character is going to be the first row, for example, but you at least know if there's a row, you may be able to not necessarily pick the one from them. So if you have a first row, maybe don't pick the first 2. Maybe pick one here, pick one at the back. May better your chances of getting non-doubles in this case. Okay, so let's have a look at my top 3 favorite figures from this line. I suppose to no surprise, one of them will be a Crash, but which Crash do you think it will be? One of the figures that I really do like, and I'm going to grab him right now, Dr. Neo Cortex, I would say at the very least is going to make my top 3 favorite figures. I love the sculpt on him, a very devilish smile happening here on Dr. Neo Cortex. I am going to say he's my number 2. He is my Riker. My number 3 favorite, I would say, is Uka Uka. Love the sculpt on Uka Uka. So I'm going to say number 3 for Uka Uka, number 2, Dr. Neo Cortex, and number 1, I'm going to pick a Crash, but which Crash am I going to go with? I'm going to go with the regular Crash with the regular arms, not the ones that have the translucent arms. So there's my top 3 favorite figures from the new lineup of Crash Bandicoot. These literally have just come out, hot off the press. Hot stack of pancakes with delicious maple syrup. Today, though, we were having a look at the Crash Bandicoot. I made a mess over here. Look at this big mess over here. But we did have a look at the new Kidrobot Crash Bandicoot vinyl miniseries. We talked about clones. We talked about goatees. We talked about a whole lot of stuff. That seems to be regular fashion here on this channel. Speaking of this channel, if you haven't had a chance to hit that little subscribe button, it's right there. Just below this video, make sure you do so. Many more videos coming your way. If you also want to go back and have a look at some other previously unboxed, uncased Kidrobot goodies, there's a Kidrobot playlist that you can check out, take a gander at, and watch at your viewing pleasure as well. We're going to have a look at some more uncasings from Kidrobot, so definitely look forward to that. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.